Hi guys, it's Chris with City or Homestead and time for Thankful Thursday. I'm actually doing this on Wednesday because I have a big canning project coming up, so I'm going to get this done today. I am not making anything today. I thought it doesn't need to be such a really long video and take up a lot of your precious time. So I'm really not quite sure on how to speak of this, and you know, that's how it usually works with me. So let's start out in prayer and let's see where it goes. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for everything that you do for all of us. Thank you for being there when we need the help the most. I ask that you continue to wrap your arms around people that really truly need your help. The ones with, health and physical and mental and emotional and money-wise and weather and everything else. I know through you everything is possible, that you can fix everything, that you can make everything better. And I ask that you do all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I've been thinking about a few things lately, and I consider myself a Christian, a learning Christian, one that I got a long ways to go. I mean, a long ways to go. But I try every day, and it's not that I succeed because, well, I don't. And that's sad, to be honest. It is sad because I keep thinking to myself, geez, is he eventually going to give up on me because I just am not getting it? But I don't think that's the case at all. I think that he knows that we're trying, and he knows where our heart is and our soul and our love and respect and all that. I think he knows where that's at. And he knows that we're human and we fall short of the grace of God every single day. I read things on Facebook, and I'm not trying to be judgy, but I see people that call themselves Christian, and I see and hear the things that they do, and it's like, first, I'm a true believer in the Word of God. I think all too often, myself and everyone else, we alter the words to be what we want them to be. And that's not how the Bible works. I sound like I'm scolding, and I'm trying not to be like that, I promise. Or judgmental, anything like that. But the Word is a living word, but it's not a changing word. So I looked up something, understanding lukewarm faith, and it says, in our journey as followers of Christ, it is essential that we recognize what it means to be lukewarm. A lukewarm Christian exists in a state of complacency, where one accepts Jesus but lives without passion. We're called to examine our hearts and actions to ensure they align with our faith. Understanding this state helps us to make necessary changes in our lives. And then it says to delve into the different verses. And I think that I do this, and I think that a lot of other people do. Like, I'll read the Bible, and I don't retain it. I've read it a bunch of times, but there's only certain things I pick out each time, and then you read this book that's, like 2,000 pages long, and you've retained a story. And I wonder if it happens to be because I don't have passion in it. Like, I'm reading that in a year Bible, and there's a lot of reading. So, you get one that does all the different, people in that family and whatever, and I'm like, I don't need that. But, it's all there for a reason. And I think that we forget the passion, because just because we believe in God, and it could be for other religions too, you believe the way you do, and maybe you too don't have the passion. Like, we should be excited that we worship an all-knowing God and all-loving God, and I think that sometimes we do forget our passion. So the first one is Revelations 3:16. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. That doesn't sound too good. I think what that's basically saying is we have to choose a side. I remember as a little girl, and because I remember believing in God my whole entire life. Like, I don't ever remember a point that I didn't, but I'm sure when I was little, you know. But my dad used to always say, you have to pick a side. You can't sit on the fence. And I've noticed personally, I sit on the fence a lot because we don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And so when we do that, we climb back up on the fence. And like my dad said, that's no place to be. 1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God. And I think that we tend to forget that, and I do too. Like, I remember to thank God for, you know, all the really good things that happen. But when something not so perfect happens, do we remember to be thankful and to glorify Him, whether good or bad? And, you know, I used to include it in my prayers, you know, that good or bad, whatever your will be done, you know, and I've forgotten to do that lately. And so, I mean, maybe your journey is getting tougher like mine. It seems like the closer you try to get to God, the more things that are thrown at you. And it's like, my dad used to talk about that too. The closer you want to get to God, the more, you know, tribulations there'll be. And there's so much tugging at your heart and everything else. I forgot where I was. I finally got a call from the doctor to get us in. We're switching doctors. She can never get us in at the times that we need, so we had to switch. But anyways, we forget to thank for even some of the things that aren't so great in our lives. And because some of those things that are not so great actually save us from pain, or, you know, there is good things that come out of it, if that makes any sense. James 1:22. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. And for me, that has been the hardest thing to do. You know, when you choose to serve God, there are things you have to give up. And there are things that you have to stop doing. And, you know, sometimes that's really, really hard to do, you know, because you think of yourself like, I don't know if it's the person in me or the person in you or whatever it happens to be, but we think, are we never going to have fun again? Are we never going to do this again? Because, you know, our faith, we have to do this or that. And it's kind of scary. It really is. I mean, it's really kind of scary. Like, you have to do what it says. Now, there's things in there, obviously, in the Old Testament. We don't rock people or stone people anymore, and we don't do that and this and whatever. I don't mean that, but other things. You know, I keep listening to different programs, and it's like, just because I have a good heart and I do for people and I want to be good to people and everything else, that doesn't earn my right into heaven. And when you think about that, you know, when someone says, are you going to heaven? And my word is always, I hope so. But as a Christian, I should know so. And so that's something that I have to work on myself. And, you know, hopefully by talking about this today, it helps other people to understand kind of what I'm going through. And maybe you're going through the same thing. And it's really, really hard. Because nowadays, it's sad to say, but there are so many people that are against Christians and religious people and religions, whether it be Christianity or whatever, altogether. And that's very, very sad. And So sometimes we don't speak out like we should. All right. Matthew 12:30. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. And I didn't read these beforehand because then I don't get my spur of the moment what I think of it. But when you think about that, whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. And biblically that's true, but that's in real life too. If you're not with me, unless it's really stupid stuff, you know what I mean? Like stuff you shouldn't be doing. That's true. Obviously, if you're not with me, you're against me. And, love scatters if it's not meant right. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I think that applies both to biblical and to personal. If I truly love someone and, I'm that ride or die. You know what I mean? I'm not going anywhere. I will back you. I will protect you. I will do whatever it takes until you decide that it's not cool. You know what I mean? Or you want to lie to me or do bad things or do whatever, then I'm not riding until I die. Because I figure if I'm willing to do that, then so should you. And why would it be any different with God? Yeah. I like that. I probably read that a million times and never thought anything of it. But, wow, how true that is. All right. Hosea 6:1. For I will not be idle, I will return to the Lord. And I think that's what I keep trying to do, and I keep thinking that I'm failing. Like I said, I know that I have a big heart, and I know that I'm a good person. And honestly, sometimes from the people closest in my life, they load off the worst things on me, and it's like you keep taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it. And, those things doesn't guarantee our place. I'm working on getting closer, and I'm working on becoming the best version of me that will serve God. And sometimes people aren't going to fly with it. Sometimes people aren't going to understand. But I have to start thinking of it in terms of no one else can get me or my soul to heaven. That's something that is just on me. So it doesn't matter if people trample on you or think differently because you want to get closer to God or whatever. Those people aren't going to face God for you. I know I tell people that, they're like, if they have different lifestyles or whatever, and I think to myself, you do you, because I don't have to face up to that for you. You do that on your own. You'll have to talk to God about that when you get there. Just as I have a lot of things I'll have to talk to God about when I get there. And I know today's not making any sense. Really isn't. But when I watch things and I listen to things and whatever, and I look at my own life, and I know that it's full of sin just like the rest of us. I mean, none of us are sin-free. We may want to be, we may try to be, but we all fall short. It's just like, I can remember when I was about, 8 or 10, something like that, and I got thrown off of a horse. It got barn fever, and the little girl in front of me, that was riding on the front of me, we were riding bareback. I fell off, and I was like just that far from hitting a rock with my head. and the little girl fell on my chest. She was a lot littler, maybe 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there. And I think to myself, if she would have fallen, she could have died too. But the thing I did wrong is I didn't get back on that horse. And do you know I've not been on a horse since? I have not. I've put my kids on a horse. I will put my grandkids on a horse if I take them there. But I have not gotten back on. And I used to love horses. So when we falter and we fall short, we need to get right back on the horse. And we need to ride that horse. And we need to understand that there's going to be times that we just don't hit the mark. You know, you can study and study and study for that test. Me and Tom were talking about my English lit teacher actually died this year. He was amazing. I hate to read. And but I loved Of Mice and Men and Scarlet Letter. But then he had that Moby Dick. I hated that book. I just absolutely hated that book. But with his death, it made us think about different things, you know, and how that one person touched so many people, because all the reaction from my classmates were like, we loved him and he was so great and whatever, you know. And don't we want to be that person when we get up in front of God, that he says, okay, Chris, this, and this person said you did great, and you did this, and you did that, and you did this for, you know, people that you don't even know, you did that, whatever. But what about this over here? What about all the times that you fell short and you did this and did that? And I think about those times, and there'll never be a time that, well, maybe, but probably not, that God can say, well, you lost 100% faith in me. You didn't believe in me. I think we all lose faith to some degree at some point, you know, especially with illnesses and stuff like that. But it's not that we lose complete faith. It's not that we, you know, just say, okay, so I didn't get that, so we're done. God gets us through a lot of things. He truly does. And we forget those things. And, you know, I guess coming out of this today, I wanted to just, if you're a person of faith, no matter what religion you are, never deny God or put words in God's mouth that he didn't say. Never say that it's okay to do this when he specifically says, don't do that. We can't change the words of the Bible to fit our needs. If that was the case, it'd just be another book. And it's not. And whatever other religions you happen to be, I'm sure you guys have books too, and I don't think they were meant to be altered or changed or anything like that. So, you know, saying something's okay because you want to be, what do they call that, socially accepted? Whatever the words is for it. That's not going to get us to heaven. And that's something that I have to realize, and so do a lot of other people. I don't think the word changes, and I will never deny God. Never. Even if it means me dying, I will never, ever, ever deny God. It's just not in my DNA. But as human beings, I think that we can still be good Christians and live in this world. We just have to learn how to do it. So, starting to thunder and lightning out. We've been finally getting some rain. We hadn't gotten rain in quite a while. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming along, and hopefully I made any sense. Sometimes I pick things because it's personal, and sometimes I pick things because it's stuff that I see or I hear or whatever. But this is a struggle that I have, and I can't be the only one. I just can't be the only one that struggles like that. So, in your comments below, if you need to be prayed for, please do put it down there. All of us will pray for you. Know that you're loved. And if I didn't make any sense today, I don't want to say sorry, but sorry. And I'm sorry I didn't cook anything today. This whole week I've been off, and yeah, sometimes you just don't feel good. But anyways, know that I love you and I appreciate you, and I thank you every day in my heart and sometimes in words that I do love you and thank you for everything that you guys are doing and helping me build my dream. And it means the world to me, you guys. I mean, it really does. You're the best group out there, and you show so much love. It's just, it's hard to believe that so many strangers can become friends and like family, even if you've never met. And I love that. That's one thing I love about my channel, is I've met so many of you that I would consider family now, and definitely friends. So God bless all of you. I love you more than you know, and have an amazing day. And I will see you at supper.